This past week, I've just been feeling down. Down. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever had just those moments where you, or days, or weeks, where you just feel sad, sad, sad? I don't know how to describe it, but I'm not feeling my best, and I'm also not feeling so cheery. So I'm figuring I'll just take you guys along with me as I try to get myself some plant therapy by fixing up this greenhouse bed for the fall. Let's go. After Jose hooked up my garden beds, now I need to do the maintenance. And this is the part where I'm really gonna need it because I need a heavy distraction. So there's a few things that we're gonna be doing. The first one is irrigation. I need to fix this irrigation. It is not organized enough and it's just thrown all over the place. Also, I need to add an extra hose or tubing line to it. So that's one. Once you line your irrigation down, then you know where you can plant your stuff. Now, this is all organization, and I've been working damn hard at my organization, and throughout this whole season of learning that, I know that I need to redo this. Let's start from square one all over again, and that means yanking up all the old plants, getting ready for the new. I did say now was a time for distraction, so let's get the weed pulling. Remember I did a video on that, on how therapeutic weed pulling can be in your garden beds? Now is the time to apply that logic. Definitely, because I need it. If only my veggie plants would grow as strong as these freaking weeds out here. And I still missed it. See how deep that is? I'm just raking all the compost together and just making an even, clean garden bed just so I can prepare the irrigation. Do you have any clues or signs that point to when you're just not feeling good or maybe sad? Well, I gotta tell you mine, and that is loss of creativity. When I'm just not feeling the happiest, I just lose my creativity. And that definitely impacts my garden because I just can't come up with anything. I can't. I don't know. It's just like a mental block that I have. Another thing that makes me really happy is actually being out in my garden. So when I don't want to be outside in my garden, that's a big flag. A lot of these signs or red flags can be very subtle, so we have to be very mindful and self-aware as to these signs that are showing up in our life, because being that they are very low-key, we may just brush right over it. And that's basically what I did for a few weeks. I was just brushing right over that feeling, and it finally caught up to me. All I did was just dump a few buckets of compost from my own compost pile and added it right directly to the bed. This compost has been around for a while. It has broken down a long time. I think I've had this since last year. It is pretty good. Now, if you want to sift it, that's totally optional. Maybe there's not a bunch. Maybe there's a bunch of pieces that have not fully decomposed yet. Like, for example, do you see this? You see this eggshell right here? This hasn't completely broken down yet, but I mean, I'm gonna leave it in there because why not, right? I also see a seed in here. Look at that. Oh, it's hot out here. It's humid, but I gotta say it's quiet, and it's also kind of quiet in my head. But this is kind of what I needed, really, because sometimes life just gets to us, and it can be overwhelming. It really can. So sometimes we need to just take a time out and then just go do stuff in the garden. Like, why is this even in there? Here we go. These two different varieties of kale that you see, I've had these for at least 2 years or something like that. So being that I need to do the garden bed all over again, do my thing, I need to just pull them up. It's a win-win anyway because my chickens are gonna feed on them. If you have the plant that the roots are really embedded deep inside of the ground, you can actually leave it. The roots that are in the ground promote a lot of oxygen circulation within the ground, so it's really not that bad of a thing. So I'm gonna leave this here. I mean, you could lift it up, but it is disturbing the soil. So I don't know if that kind of goes against the whole no-till thing. If you notice at the bottom here, there is a new sprouts coming from this one. So I'm actually gonna leave this one alone and just kind of pick around it. The rest of it, this has to go. The roots are deep in this system right here, so I'm just gonna leave this. I mean, this looks like a multiple plant thing going on. All of this, I'm actually gonna leave it here, and I'm gonna bury it. It's just compost, so I'm not really gonna remove it. I know, by this time your thoughts are still swirling because we're still in the beginning phase of just pulling and yanking and clearing our beds. It'll get better though, I know it. This Swiss chard has been here for 2 years. Some of them are actually pretty good. So some of the leaves I can possibly keep, but the ones that have been through the ringer, the ones that look not the best, I'm gonna pluck all of that out. Besides, this seeds or reseeds itself very easily, so you could just leave one of these Swiss chars, like, you know, let it go to seed, and the seeds will drop and you'll get this all over again. So it's not really, you know, no harm, no foul if you're just pulling up your Swiss chard. Besides, my chicken's gonna eat it, so they're gonna love it. Well, it turned out that I wound up yanking everything out of the ground. Nothing was left there because I really wanted a fresh start, and a fresh start meant nothing there from before. Now look at this little thing. That's my pride and joy, but I can't talk too much about it because I'm gonna be making a video short, so stay tuned for that one. But look at that sucker. That is one huge zucchini. Once I finish pulling up everything that I need to pull up, the leaves, the weeds, everything from here, then I'm going to be fixing up this irrigation because as you can see, this is for another video, but I have drip tape and I also have drip tubing. This drip tape I'm getting rid of because I do have the tubing, but it's still both mixed in there, so I have a lot to do on this bed. Damn those weeds. I'm telling you, that is a perfect example of neglect right there because those weeds should not be there because I should have been upkeeping my stuff. But then again, life will do that to you. And yeah, so that's okay. We'll yank it all out because I don't want to see any remnants of my, shortcomings. You ideally want to bury your irrigation sometimes, but I'm not going to do that because I'd be forgetting where the irrigation lines are. So I just say, screw that. I'm just going to leave them on top. See, now I know where to plant. That is where the irrigation spots are, where the water's coming out, so I already know where to plant. Isn't that awesome? Great. Get the planting. When transplanting your seedlings, you can use granular fertilizer as a booster, but if you have already been using compost, then that's not really needed. So as you see here, I'm using with granular fertilizer and also without, just to see the difference. Well, hey, do you want to see another thing that I screwed up on? Yeah, not planting a lot of seedlings. That was my fault and I knew it, I just avoided it. So when I'm feeling very overwhelmed with life and things, I avoid stuff. Which technically is bad because then it brings up more anxiety, which is also bad, so then it turns into a little vicious cycle. That repetitive cycle has to be broken at some point because if not, we're just gonna stay in that negative loop the entire time. When I'm sowing the seeds directly into the soil, I am not using granular fertilizer, I'm just relying on the compost as it is. I'm glad Jose is going to be redoing my garden for this fall time because I gotta tell you, everything in my garden has to go. It's not just these beds, everything. Eggplant is in. I also have my cauliflowers are in, but not only that, I managed to plant some carrots. I'm very excited about those carrot seeds because I was gifted those specific seeds from a nice starter seed company. And I'm very excited about them because they are like red or purple and I can't wait to grow them. Oh, I think they're red. These parsnip seeds, if you've been following me all summer, you know I've been trying to like get some parsnip seeds and bam, I got a lot of them. So we're gonna be planting all of those right over here as well. To be honest, there we go. Can I do that? Well, I just did it. There we go. All right. They're very small. I mean, I'm going to be fixing them up. You know, I'm just letting you know. But, yeah. How about that? All parsnip seeds. Now I'll go around and I'll just kind of pluck them and put them inside of the ground. When in doubt, see, this is going to be a heavily concentrated... See, this spot is going to be heavily concentrated with them, but that's okay because we're going to be thinning as they start growing. So, not all of them are going to be used, you know? So we're just going to shove them in there. It's going to be raining today, so I'm really trying to get all this started before the rainfall. Just shoving them in there. Of course, people are going to be like, oh, it's not organized enough. You can't just throw your parsnip seeds anywhere. Well, guess what? I just did. And I'm going to leave them like that. I'm just going to thin them as, you know, as the seedlings start to pop up. I'll just thin them out little by little. No big deal, you know what I mean? Well, it did rain yesterday, so I can't complain. It just didn't rain a lot, but it's all good, though. At least it's got a little some moisture. Being that I hooked up my irrigation, I don't really have to worry about water too much because it's all set up and hooked up. The last thing I need to do is just rake this up and then we're good to go. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you got some good information out of it. If you did, smash that like button. I really appreciate it. Facebook, Instagram, you can catch me. I also live stream on Sundays, twice a month. All that good stuff. Until the next episode, you guys, where you and me both growing our happiness one plant at a time, one day at a time. Check you out later. Peace and love.